Right. Hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Olia. I lead developer experience at RootstockLabs. Rootstock is the first and longest running Bitcoin sidechain. What makes it special that it is fully EVM compatible. So as a developer, you can enjoy an extensive toolchain and use a variety of different libraries, integrations, etc. For building. We've created this particular series for walking you through some of the most useful tools and integrations to make sure that you're fully equipped for building on Bitcoin with Rootstock. Today, we have Juan Diego with us. He is a part of the RootstockLabs developer experience team, and we will be talking about a very cool tool. And if you've ever come across any EVM development, I'm sure you've heard about it. All right, Juan, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, hello, Olia, and hello, everyone watching this video. As you might know, and you have heard already, I'm part of Rootstock Labs, and I've been like a part of the team developing the DevEx experience. I've been in the ecosystem for around 3 years, and like any one of like the people who is like trying to develop, I've been there. And I'm all every single day there, like testing out like new tools, testing out new stuff coming up, and it's gonna be my pleasure to be like showing you off like how is to be developing on Rootstock in this opportunity. So first things first. Sorry for interrupting you. Like I'm going to be sharing my screen because I want to show off the people like what is like. This is a presentation that we've been using like eventually, and basically, as you were saying, Rootstock is a fully compatible EVM compatible like EVM virtual machine. Sorry. And developers can deploy whichever contract they have been working on Rootstock. And at this opportunity, we'll be showing off like Hardhead and Foundry on the same like repository, which is the most like used set of environment for developing nowadays. And basically, what we're trying to enforce is like we don't want to have Bitcoin and Ethereum as two different ecosystems, and we want to use the security of Bitcoin and integrate the capability of Ethereum to have all these contracts and to diversify the economy that we can like have on it with the contracts. One interesting thing about like Rootstock is the proof of work that we use, because basically it's a merge mining with the hash power that like Bitcoin has. And we use the one that is not like fully used on the consensus, and we benefit of this. And also one of the main things that we have is the PowPick, and it's the way that we bring all the liquidity from Bitcoin to Rootstock, having the like basically we peg Bitcoin, and then now that we have it on Ethereum, we can like use it on different other protocols and how to create yield and how to offer the people another uses for their Bitcoin, and not just to have the liquidity locked in that ecosystem. As we were saying, the compatibility is the same. We're gonna have all the standards that we have in other like Ethereum like context. And as we're working like really, we're working a lot to have better times and better consensus on Rootstock. We're going for 28 seconds for block time, but by the end of the year, we're going to be like having this for 5 seconds. And that is pretty much it. Rootstock is really good at like bringing more and more like actors on the ecosystem. And you're going to be having the same libraries that you have in other chains. For now, for these webinar, we're going to be working on like focusing on Foundry. But if you want to integrate different other stuff, you will have like their web to deploy contracts easily with like no code stuff. You could deploy tokens and like NFT collections like out of the box, like pretty easy, just a couple of clicks away. And Etherspot to have like gas sponsorship, and 4337 super easy. Gelato for like automations and different stuff, and many other like actors that could like help you and like make this super easy on the time that you're developing. And I want to focus like really on Tenderly. If you really want to debug like your contracts, as we're going to be like seeing on the demo like later on, this is going to be like super handy in this context. And that is it. Before like jumping into the on the code, I want to show you like a couple of like different like actors that we like partnership with, and that are going to be really useful to you if you're going to be like bringing any kind of idea to Rootstock. So like in the wallets, you're going to have like every single one that you have seen out there. And for stable coins, that is super trendy right now. We have our own framework for stable coins, which is around the ecosystem that we have in Reef on chain basically, and you're going to have the dollar on chain and different like stable coins that are going to be like backed by Bitcoin and many other stuff. Every single bridge that you have seen out there nowadays, we have also 1 inch, but like without like going any deeper, let's go into the code. And I don't know if you have like any comments or whatever.
No, all good. A very great foundation. So thanks for looking through.
Good, thanks you. So for this opportunity, like trying to like create around things that we have on a single like on a daily basis in our ecosystem is like I created a vault. The vault is a standard that allows to the people to deposit tokens, and like right after you're going to be getting shares that associate like these deposits that you have been doing. So for this opportunity, I wanted to focus this on the Rooster Collective DAO that we have. And I'm going to be creating the first thing is that we are going to be deploying a simple contract for ERC20 that you might have seen already. It was created with the wizard of Open Zeppelin and is going to be representing the stake reef that you get once you deposit or once you stake the reef token on the DAO. So my perspective was to,
Can we just
sorry.
answer just a quick one? Can we just say a couple of words of what Rootstock Collective DAO is, just for those who might not be familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Rooster Collective DAO is a decentralized organization, as it's described, for the people to develop and to create proposals. So it's going to be like sponsoring and promoting for the people to develop around the Rootstock ecosystem, and there you are going to be able to get voting power depositing your reef, which is the token that supports and is supported by the OG contributors of the ecosystem. And with this, you're going to be like staking and getting power on the decisions that are made around the liquidity that is given to the people who wants to create new ideas or who wants to basically develop our ecosystem.
Yeah, that's all. Perfect. Thank you.
And then, so I was saying, when you deposit these, you get a stake reef, like out of the reef that you have put it into the DAO to get to get power, to voting power, and these tokens that allow you to vote on the all the proposals. But once you have that, the tokens are there, and yes, you get voting power. But maybe in the future, or my perspective, or what I want to see is like for anyone to give this another functionality. So on this one is like a really naive and like super simple perspective of what the people could do, and like following the standard of Open Zeppelin, I created these vault, which we are going to be checking like later. And so this is super simple. We are going to be depositing and the mint the shares. The shares are going to have the same name of the token deposited, just with that we are going to have like a prefix for the V, which is going to like say that is the vault token. And that is it. Like we are going to be checking that into the test, but like for the introduction, like we're going to have this folder structure, which is going to show us that we have like a Foundry configuration with all the Rootstock testnet, and also we are going to be verifying the contract with the use of like Blob Scout, which is one of the integrations that we have, and that makes it super easy to verify contracts using Hardhat. And then we are going to be also having on the same repository the Foundry setup, which is going to make it super easy also to have like the testing for Foundry and all the benefits that like the simple library for Forge give us. Also, like a couple of like add-ons that we are gonna have. It's the Soul Hint extension for the corrections and all the linter for, if it's good to say in this context. that is going to be like giving us like insights out of the box before like having anything on production. And one of the things that I would like to highlight is Adrin. Adrin is a plugin for developers developed by Cifrin, which is one of the most important actors out there, like giving like educational content and stuff. It's created in Rust, that's the same as Foundry, and it's gonna give us like insights also of the things that we should improve before like compiling, and everything is gonna be like following the best practices on like Solidity nowadays to develop. And being said that, we are gonna be jump right into the code. So as we were saying, and this is already using hard hat. So the I usually use Bond, so we're gonna be using Bonex as the handler. So let's say that we would like to like test everything or maybe compile. So we're gonna be compiling with both of the environments. So you're gonna be checking. So nothing to compile, just one sec because I already been working with this, it's gonna say that there's nothing to compile. There we go. Then so it's going to be creating all the artifacts and everything, and it's going to be like following Cancun, which is the last EVM version that we are supporting. And also to highlight that the last version that we are working on is stable. It's the Foundry 25. And now that we did it with like hard hat, we're going to be like trying to do it with Foundry. Just one thing, like you are going to be also be seeing all the comments that we are going to be using in this webinar here that available in the README. And as we did before, we're just going to be building it with like Foundry. So now that we have both working, it's going to be super simple to show you off like the testing. But for example, we're going to be following the Foundry test and the gas report that it gives us. So as you might see, like this is just following for all the tests that we have out here, and it's like in this folder, the tests, and like just to make it like simpler, we're going to be like trying to see the deployment, which is going to be checking the name of the tokens that are like given to the people as shares, and like all the main functionalities of the vault, which is basically depositing the previous mint, which is going to be like calculating the shares that the people is going to be given, the redeem, which is basically when you burn the shares and you get back your assets, and then the withdraw. And I'm going to be showing you like a little bit more of how it works in the inside in a little bit. But basically this is the gas coverage, and it's going to be telling you how much is going to be used of the how many units of gas are going to be used on each of your like functions. But if you want to go for more detail like explanation of how the tests are working, we're going to be like using the verbose functionality for Foundry, and then we will be seeing like as tenderly, for example, the tool that I was mentioning before is going to be telling us like all the fallback functions that are like a call when you're like going for each of the tests. But basically, for example, we're gonna go for one interesting one. Let me see one sec. So multiple users, test me to deposit, for example. So here, basically, it's gonna give us all the events that are like emitted when the functions are called, and then the transfer of the assets when basically the wallet is transferring to the contract, and then the deposit like a event that is emitted, and the shares that are given to the people. And then right after we just check the balance of the wallet that deposited the money, and then like we go on and on with the test that you are going to be able to see on the Foundry test. And then if you want to go further in this, you can like find this repository in our organization. And one sec, as we were saying, checking. So deposit, test deposit, here it is. So this one is the one that we were like following, and then you will be able to like follow all the details. But then if maybe Foundry is not like Solidity, my bad, is not your like best skill and stuff, and it's just like you're starting and you're developing in hard hat, and then it's easier for you to test in JavaScript or like TypeScript in this case. We're just going to be able to go for also for hard hat test, and then we will have these testing in JavaScript, which you're going to find here in test. And then we will have the usual like setup that we have, like as we're using hard hat in this opportunity in the, let me see, because I forgot like what is the version precisely that I'm using right now, but like it's 2.24.2. So we're gonna have like Ether.js basically under the hood, like or working with this, coming from Nomic Foundation. And from there, like we're gonna be using the typings generated by like the type chain setup that we have in the hard hat config to have all the typings by default for the contracts, and to make it easier to interact with the functions, where we're going to have like everything like out of the box with the TypeScript like setup. And same as the other, so we're going to have like all the details in here, like as you might know, like Hardhat doesn't give us as much as like the verbose functionality as Foundry, and that's why it is super handy to have both of the environments at the same time, like to be used. And that is pretty much like the setup that we have. So we're going to be deploying with the contract, and we're going to be seeing how we can like verify it and like to check it on the Explorer. And so let's go back to the README. So here we're going to have like both of the options that we have for now. Before, we were we were working really hard to have the seamless experience that other EVM contexts have. So for now, we are using the nightly version of Foundry, which is going to be coming up in the further weeks on the last release of Foundry. And before that, we were forced to use the legacy flag to deploy everything on Foundry. But as we managed to fix it, is basically the same as in Ethereum. So we're just gonna like copy these, and then we're gonna be like deploying everything. It's gonna be compiling the contract and checking if everything goes fine. And then right after that is gonna be start to deploy the contract. And while that finish, we are gonna be checking the script that we used. So for the manner of this tutorial, we left on the environment example and like environment variable the seed phrase for the wallet. In any like production environment, for sure you can follow best practices, so just to use the default that like Foundry offers you, not to not share the seed phrase. But anyway, so what we did in this case was to basically start the environment with the deployer key, taking it from the environment. First, we deployed the asset, because the vault requires you to have one asset like on the constructor to define which are the shares that is going to be given to the people once they deposit any kind of asset. And then basically, yes. So once we have the token deployed, then we can create the instance for the vault, and then it is deployed. And as you can see here, so basically it says that it deployed effectively the contract. The first is the asset, and the second one is the vault. And then if we go for this, for example, let's say the vault. But let's first things first, let's verify it, because if not, we are not going to be able to see much in the Explorer. So as I told you before, we're going to be using Hardhat to verify. Both of the environments offer you the option, but like this is the simplest setup that we need to do. So for API key, Block Scout basically doesn't require that any API key for us. And then we just need to define the URL that is provided for Block Scout to us. And with this, nothing more than this, we're going to be able to verify the contract. It's going to be asking us, as you're going to see here, so verify it. So it's going to be asking us for the vault address and then for the token address, which now that we have here is going to be super easy to use. So here we just copy and paste, and then the other stuff, we're going to be taking it from here. So now that it was saying contract address from the vault, which is the second one, and then the asset, which is the first. Here it is, and then we're going to be verifying it, and it's going to be taking a couple of seconds, but right after that, we're going to be, okay, here it is. So we're going to copy this, and then, so the contract is verified, and you are going to be able to see the same that we have on the repository here, and also to interact with it from here, depositing like assets and stuff. And I think that is it. It is like a super daily experience on developing on Rootstock using Foundry and Hardhat. And as you have my scene, it is like similar to any other chain, super easy, like Foundry with all the fixes that were done for Foundry. Everything works like super smoothly. And if like you wanna like create any other solution, you could check like all the partners that we have, and for sure like all the Discord and everything is like super open, and we will be more than willing to help like anyone who is developing on Rooster.
So thank you. A couple of questions, I think maybe like from just your experience, seeing developers using both while building on Rootstock, and you've attended a few hackathons, help developers to. Are there any common mistakes or pitfalls, maybe like in the config file or anything that you repeatedly see for those who are starting with Hardhat or Foundry?
Sorry, I didn't get exactly a question. I know that it's related to the environment, but I didn't get the question.
The question was, have you seen any common mistakes with people
Oh
trying
yeah.
to deploy a contract with Foundry? Like, what is the recurring thing that you keep on telling people? Maybe it's like Solidity version or like anything else you wanted to throw out there to kind of be mindful of?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's a really good question. So before that, we didn't have like these fix on the Foundry version. Like it was like returning one of OP code like error. But now like it's not really present in our situation, and also usually like hard hat configurations for the Solidity version that we support. Like it's good to remember that the latest version that we support is Solidity 825, and like if people stick with that one, it's going to be like super smooth.
Awesome. Thank you. Between the two, for somebody with no experience at all, is there a preference that's easy to get started with?
Yeah, for example, in my experience, like I started with Hardhead, and like nowadays I use Foundry. But if you're gonna go on into development of like contracts, if you come from like software development background, it's gonna be super easy to go for TypeScript. And if you're testing, maybe it's not gonna give us as much as feedback as like Foundry is giving you. But in the beginning, it's not that important, and it's easier just to have like more like libraries that you can like have on your toolbox, and that you can like relate with, and it's going to be like making it easier. So I will say hard hat first and then Foundry, and if you have then mixed, it's going to be like taking you like easier into the fully Foundry environment.
Thank you. And the last question, you've talked about ethers. I think that's what you've used, right, in your demo. Are there any alternatives for ethers library?
Yeah, actually, in the documentation, like a Rootstock documentation, we have the example of how to interact with VM. VM is like another plugin that like Hardhat has, and it could be set up like super easy. It had like similarities, but like it's another approach. Basically, Ethers is being like more into the ecosystem, and like VM is something that came up like on the last years, and it's also. But if you are going to be developing, for example, like front end experiences, and you relate with VM, it's going to be super handy because like most of the ecosystem is using WACME, and VM is what WACME uses under the hood. So if you're a developer that is doing the contracts and also the front end, it's going to be easier just to like port everything from your hard hat environment to the front end eventually.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Oh, last thing. We've just been going through a repository. Is that available for the viewers to check out somewhere?
Yeah, it's public in the organization, so it's going to be Foundry Hard Hat webinar is the name of the repository, and you're going to be finding it in the organization.
Thank you. Well, I think that's it. I don't have any more questions. It was really to the point. Enjoyed your walkthrough. Yeah, if your folks have any questions, you can find Juan or myself on our Discord channel, RootstockLabs. And yeah, ping us anytime. Also, any socials. Thanks again, Juan, for joining. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon with another episode and another walkthrough. Yeah, until then.
All right. Thanks so much.